Yeah, this one definitely was not what I expected at all. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about John Carter in A Princess of Mars, which is the first book in the Barsoom trilogy by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Of course, the famed pulp author, also better known, I think, for Tarzan, but John Carter pretty known as well. And I ended up kind of doing this randomly because I was just trying to find in audio. I didn't have one going, and the one I was listening to was kind of like not feeling. And so this was pretty quick, narrated by Scott Brick, who I like. And I'm like, you know what? It's something that I meant to eventually try some of this kind of stuff. So I figured I would pop it on. And I can't honestly remember if I ever saw the movie of this, so I may not have. But the base plot here is you have John Carter, who's an officer and of the Confederacy, and after the Civil War, he's off prospecting and just is in Arizona and like goes into a cave and somehow ends up on Mars, and then spends many years there. And this is the first book telling of his kind of journey while he's there, which includes giant green Martians as well as humanoid people who are the red Martians, and they're like big white gorillas and other kinds of creatures and everything. And it's him kind of there, being the hero and this kind of different thing. And it really it's there's quite a lot of action and a lot of creativity, especially with kind of thinking about some of the stuff that has to do with like the Mars as a planet and everything, because this was from like 1911 or 1912, which is well before the idea of space flight was really even going to be a possibility. I mean, that's around the time like flight in general was in question. So it was very interesting to see that kind of thing and see some of the stuff that actually sort of makes sense. Like it addresses differences in gravity, addresses differences in atmosphere, and that type of thing as well. And so it was very imaginative and I think cool there. The other thing too is it does, which I guess it's a Princess of Mars, and focusing on that, so it does focus a fair bit on kind of the romance there as well, in kind of a pulpy way, but not in a crazy over the top pulpy way either. I was a little bit worried about how that was going to go, but it's interesting because it sets up, despite the fact that this is it's taking place quite in the past on Earth, even at the time, but it's also specifically like on Mars, it's a more advanced civilization in some ways and not in others. And so the kind of the setup there and what we're looking at and everything that's built out on the world of Mars, really interesting. Different civilizations, different people. The green Martians are looked at as kind of barbarians, whereas the red Martians are much more refined and closer to humans and have more of the technology. And it's just a hostile planet, but a lot of different things going on there. And for how short this is, it does have a surprising amount of depth. Now, the thing that I feel like too, it was a bit, annoying for me, although I feel like it sort of just makes sense. And I feel like whenever you're reading something like this, that's, this is over 100 years old. It's even known as like, the pulpy kind of, action type of stuff. When you're reading this, you have to sort of expect some things. It doesn't mean it's not going to like annoy you or that you're going to have to like it, but you have to kind of expect it to be a little bit cheesy or to have some things like that. And here is, it's just John Carter who is narrating this and, telling the story. Is just very, very quickly good at everything. Now, some of it is explained as he's quite a bit stronger and more acrobatic because he's used to more gravity. And so, the people of Mars, all the different people, the creatures and everything have, evolved over time with less gravity, and so they don't have the same strength, and like they wouldn't be able to live probably on Earth with more gravity. So it's kind of explained that way, but also it's just like he's very good at everything. So you have your kind of Gary Stu type of character that just can sort of just get past everything and be totally fine and figure out a way, and it's just seems like he's smarter and better at everything. And so it's a little bit annoying, but it's also just kind of at the same time sort of fun and action packed. This really does move very quickly. There's not a lot of dwelling, and especially it's shorter too, and kind of the time you're just moving. It's like, oh, we got to figure something out. We'll do this. We'll go do this. Yeah, this is the new thing. And there's even times where it's like, well, surely you can figure out a way out of this situation. And of course, John Carter will figure a way out of the situation. So it's cheesy, it's pulpy, you know, that's what it is. But it was a surprisingly fun read. Like I said, I did the audio narrated by Scott Brickway, and which was solid as well with it. And it seems like there's a ton of different versions of audio, and I'm sure you could find a ton of different versions of this physically as well. But I think I may kind of casually continue with probably audio, to be honest, with some of these as well, because I think that just kind of the pulpiness too. I feel like reading it would feel a little bit more ridiculous, but it being audio for some reason makes it feel more okay. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like that's kind of how it was. But I might try and continue these a little bit and just see where it's going, because they're fun. And I think this is, if you're looking for just something kind of fun, action packed with the action, the romance, the just like cheesy, old pulpy action type of thing, this is it. And it's pretty fun. And it's overall, like I said, it's not, I don't think it's aged particularly badly. There are definitely some things where you could read into more things with it that I don't think are necessarily intended with it, but because it's just like you do have your your person from Earth coming in and being the savior, who's the only white guy on the planet, so you could definitely read into that. But it's more, it seems that it's just like he's from Earth and he's the hero, and it's that kind of thing. And again, you just kind of have to expect the hero going to Mars, that type of thing as well. And so it's one of those things. So I think this is a product of its time, but honestly, it still was fun. And I think is yeah, like I said, if you want to just check this out, if you haven't, if you're curious, give it a shot. The version I did was included on Audible, so was pretty easily available and was fun. So yeah, I might casually do these. I'll update, of course, if I do. But it was an interesting time. So that's pretty much my thoughts here. It's just something where I'm like, let's throw something short on audio. Kind of worked out. Had a fun time with it. Let me know if you have read this or listened to the audio or whatever with it, or if you've seen the movie too. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I recall it existing, but I don't recall actually seeing it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, because I'm curious. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was getting into here. It wasn't quite what I expected, but it was a lot of fun. So curious to hear your thoughts on that one, or if there are other of the old pulpy stuff that you have read that you recommend checking out that's maybe similar, better, worse, whatever. Let me know. Otherwise, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.